All right, so our read aloud today is called the Three Little Dassies. The Three Little Dassies. And it's written and illustrated by Jan Brett. And as you guys will hear and see, like Jan Brett has a really fun way of illustrating her stories. If you guys look, like she does kind of like really detailed frames around the edge. Really detailed frames, and then she also adds little extra parts of the story along the edge too, and it's really fun because it's just a lot more added detail than some authors or illustrators like to add in their stories. So Jan Brett is really famous for doing that.
That's pretty.
It is, and she does these beautiful illustrations. She's very, very talented. And I told you, I've got a special place in my heart for authors that are also illustrators. Excuse me, if you're talking while I'm talking, I'm already losing my voice simply because I'm trying to be loud enough. So if Jaya and Elizabeth and everybody, Jaya, I've now asked you 3 times to stop trying to chit chat with your neighbor. I can't, through this mask, I can't talk over you guys, okay? I'm going to lose my voice trying to talk over you guys because I have to try to make my voice so much louder to get through the mask. And I can't do that if you guys are talking, okay? So you need to be polite. All right, but I told you I have a special place in my heart for those authors who are also illustrators, just because I think it's so amazing that they have 2 talents. They can both write and draw very, very well. So extra talented people. Hot, hot, hot. The little Dassies were almost grown up, and it was time for them to find their own place. Mimby, Pimby, and Timby waved goodbye to Mommy, Daddy, aunties, uncles, and all their cousins and set out for the distant mountains. Distant mountain. Come and visit us, they shouted. A place cooler, a place less crowded, a place safe from big eagles. And if you guys could see, and I know it's kind of hard, and maybe today, once you finish the assigned reading, if you have extra time, you can look at this on Wonders Online. You'll see the little extra pictures over here of them getting up on the tortoise and packing up their bags up there. So it's pretty fun. They've got a tortoise pulling their little caravan. Jaya, are you talking again back there? You need to not. You need to not. The sisters traveled all day and all night across the Namib. I think I had troubles with this word last year. Desert, arriving at the foot of the mountain the next morning. This will be where we live, they agreed excitedly. I'm not going to do it. If you guys want me to read, you have to stop talking. Troy, I'm not playing. I will shut this book and we can sit here in silence. I cannot talk over you guys. I'm losing my voice from trying to talk over you guys. Okay? My voice is tired. Arriving at the foot of the mountain the next morning. This is where we will live, they agreed excitedly. Welcome, a squeaky voice called from the screen. It came from a handsome, smiling Agama man. And once again, if you look at the sides here, and you guys can always go and listen to the book again, like I say, on Wonders, or on my video that I'll post on your Google Classroom, and you can see the pictures and stuff. We see a little eagle family over here. And then we see the Agama man over here. No one has lived here for a long, long time. Just me and a family of eagles up in the mountain. Eagles? The 3 little Dassies shivered in the hot, hot sun. Now, why would it say that they'd shiver in the hot, hot sun? Ooh, I love that I see some hands popping up. Miranda? So what about the eagles would make them shiver? Right? It's like scared. It's scared. Ooh. Amy. I'm ready to stop. That whole row of second graders, you will be done. You will owe me time on the wall during your recess. If you're going to constantly waste my class time, I will waste your recess time. Okay? So as Miranda was saying, which you guys couldn't hear because you're too busy chit-chatting, is they were shivering because it was like nervous. Ooh, eagles. Ooh. Okay? All right. Where would they build their houses? Mimby eyed the long grasses. These grasses will make a lovely, cool home. Cool house, she said, and set to work cutting, twisting, braiding, and bundling. She finished it in no time. Be dear and near, sister, she said, crawling inside for a nap. Once again, the pictures on the side, we see what is this thing? The Agama man. And then over here, we see one of the other sisters starting to get the stuff for her house. Does this remind you of a story yet? Does anybody see familiarity? Have some? Oh, I see lots of hands. Jimmy, what do you think?
Kind of like the Three Little Pigs.
Ooh, thumbs up if that's what you guys thought. Kind of like the Three Little Pigs. So right here, the Three Little Dassies. And then we see the first little Dassie building her house of grass. Now, based on what we remember from the story, the Three Little Pigs, what prediction could we have here about this house of grass? What prediction could we make? Anaya?
Yeah.
Well, do we think it's a big bad wolf in this story?
No.
What do we think it is?
It's a big bad.
The big bad eagle, okay. But what can we say about this house? What do we think might happen to this house? Ooh, thank you so much for raising your hands to Haiti. It'll fall, it'll get knocked down maybe. Do you guys think that? Put your thumbs up if that was what your prediction. Put it down if you have a different prediction. You have a different one, Danny? It's going to get ruined. Well, that's kind of similar to Hades, right? It's going to get knocked down or ruined. Okay. Hey, Jimmy, you may do yours very quickly, but we need to move on.
Maybe the wind will blow it down.
Okay. All right. So we've got our predictions in our head. And if you didn't get to share yours, that's okay. Keep your prediction in your head, and let's see if it's right. Okay. Pimby spotted pieces of driftwood, silver from the sun, lying in the sand of the dry riverbed. These will make a fine wooden house, she said. And she said about collecting as many pieces as she could find. When it was finished, she hung up a hammock and called out, "Be near and dear, sisters, while I rest my eyes." And once again, off to the side, we see the eagle. And then we see the other sister, and what's she looking at? Can anybody see? I know you guys in the back are going to have a hard time seeing that. But what is she looking at, Max?
That was
She's not like she's looking down. Is your sister's house down there? No. That's not a house of sticks down there. What is it, Tahiti? Wood. I'm going to tell you guys because I know it's hard for you guys to see the pictures really well, even though it's a bigger bucket. Jimmy. It's a rock. Oh, it's a rock. Does that remind you of another story? Are you thinking about the Three Little Pigs again? And kind of comparing the rock to the bricks that the third little pig used? Timby looked at the rocks around their mountain. "I will make a stone house," she said. But it won't be as easy to build as one made of grasses or sticks. And it wasn't. She had to work all day in the hot sun to get it finished in time to sleep in it that night. Agama man had been watching them. He was happy they were staying on. He had missed having company. Well, gotta use a lot of rocks to fill in that house and make it strong. The three little Dassies slept late into the morning. As the sun rose higher and higher in the sky, the big old eagle who lived up on the mountain stretched his wings and flew down to look for a meal for his hungry chicks. Mimby woke up hungry and went outside. Suddenly, a long-winged shadow passed over her. "The eagle!" she cried, and hurried back into her grass house.
Walk out?
No, Mimby was the one who built the grass house. I see you, Dassie, the eagle screeched and swooped down. "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll blow your house in." He squawked, beating the air with his wings until the grass roof sailed off. The eagle grabbed Mimby and lifted her up, up, up to his nest. There he is, taking her away. Up, up, up to his nest. Riley, honey, that mask needs to go up over your nose. But the eagle was greedy. No sooner had he dropped Mimby into the nest than he spotted Pimby in front of her stick house far below. 2 Dassies would be double delicious, he thought, and he went down, feathers flying. Pimby looked up and saw him coming. She turned and ran back inside. There she is, way down there, running into her little stick house. Yeah, it's like I'll huff and I'll puff, except for he says, "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll blow your house in." Right? Very similar. That's another similarity to
the big bad eagle.
yeah. Okay, and then we look, we see the Agama man. Okay, thank you guys. All right. Timby looked out to call her sisters to come for a breakfast of tasty seed porridge. But instead of a grass house and a stick house, oh, sorry, we skipped a page. I skipped a page. The eagle landed and screeched, "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll blow your house in," he squawked. Twigs flew, sticks rattled until Pimby's stick house fell apart. Then, just like Mimby, she felt herself being lifted high in the sky and plunked down in the eagle's nest.
Here's the lizard.
Yeah, the Agama man, you see him over there.
Looks like he was running up.
Yeah, it does look like he's climbing up, huh?
He's gonna save them.
Oh, that's your prediction? Like maybe he's climbing up to save them? Timby looked out to call her sisters to come for breakfast of tasty seed porridge, but instead of a grass house and a stick house, she saw a long shadow streaking across the rocks. "I see you, Dassie. Here I come." There's the 2 sisters in the nest, going, ooh, holding each other. Okay, keep it in your brain. Keep it in your brain. The eagle landed and shrieked, "I'll flap and I'll clap and I'll blow your house in." He flapped and he clapped and he beat his wings. Dust and sand blew everywhere, but the stone house didn't move. He tried again, flapping and clapping even harder. Dust and sand got in his eyes, but the stone house didn't budge. Oh, and if we look in this picture, and I know you guys in the back are going to have a hard time seeing this, but one of Jan Brett's little pictures off to the side tells a different story than just what we hear in the words. And it shows the Agama man looking at the two sisters in the nest. And then it shows him hanging off of the nest, holding one of the sisters in his arm. What, Danny? Could you possibly wait till our story is done? Okay. You can wait till our story is done. That would be best. I don't know why you'd want to leave in the middle of the story. When the dust settled, the stone house was still standing, but the eagle was coughing and sneezing. His wing feathers were bent and broken, and he was missing tail feathers. Knowing when to quit, he hopped his way up to the nest. At least he had two Dassies waiting for his dinner. And we see the Agama man dropping one of the little Dassies out of the nest, and the other little Dassie falling too.
It looks like they're having fun.
Whee! All right.
Their dresses are like gliders.
The eagle reached his nest, but the Dassies were gone. He looked down and he saw them at the bottom of the mountain, heading for the stone house. It was his last chance. He streaked down towards the open chimney. There's the chimney, and he's streaking down, which means he's kind of zipping down really, really fast. He would just be like a streak in the air if you saw him, because he was going so fast. Thank you guys for having your listening ears on. I appreciate it. That's much, much better. Second graders, that's how you guys know how to do this. You've been here last year. You should be old pros at listening to stories. Inside, the three sisters hugged each other. There's nothing like a stone house when there are eagles abundant, they cried. Just then, the eagle tumbled down the chimney. I'll flap and I'll clap. A hot blast from the fire hit him. I'll fly home for a nap, he squealed. There's the fire, remember, the porridge is down there. So he went down the chimney, but the fire was down there. So he was like, oh, I quit. I give up. I'll just go home for a nap. As fast as he could, he squeezed back up the chimney and flew home, all black and singed from the smoky fire. And Mimby, Pimby, and Timby never saw so much as a tail feather of that eagle ever again.
I'm done.
You don't need to tell me. Just throw your stuff away. Does it have cereal or just milk? Then you can pour it down the sink. Mommy, Daddy, aunties, uncles, and all their cousins, and Agaman, too, careful, had come to celebrate. Hold on, I'm going to there. Welcome, the sisters cried, to a place cooler, a place less crowded, a place safe from eagles. And if you traveled to Nambia today, you will see Dassies living in stone houses, with handsome Agama men looking out for them. As for the pesky eagles, they are easily spotted, for their feathers are as black as soot. So there is kind of what the Agama man would really look like, and the Dassies would really look like without all their fancy clothes on and everything. And then if you see, that's what the eagles look. So remember, second graders, and you guys were talking about fables, right? And learning lessons from stories. Jimmy, you need to have your mask on if you're walking around, sweetheart. This is kind of similar to that, right? And the big bad wolf, kind of similar in that the animal kind of learned a lesson at the end. And it tells us a story also. It tells us why the eagles are dark colored now. Because remember the eagles at the beginning of the story were white? And then now it says they're dark. And it says, well, they're dark because he went down the chimney and he got burnt by the soot in the fire in the chimney. So anyway, that's kind of fun. Kind of fun. So how did the two Dassies escape the eagle's nest? How did the two Dassies escape the eagle's nest? Amy?
Because the eagle went down to get the one that built the house was down, and then they escaped. So the eagle was extracted to the girl that was that
Okay, but how did they get out? So they were sneaky, but how did they get out? Who could tell me that? I'd like to hear. Oh, I know you can. I'd like to hear from somebody I haven't heard from yet today. Ooh, let's see. Valerie, do you know how the two little Dassies got out of the nest? How? Loud and proud, girlfriend. Put that hat away. It's not a toy. Put it away. How did they escape? Sophia? What? 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 What is she saying?
Yes. Yes.
Yes? Okay, that's why it doesn't make sense, because that's not an answer. It's not a yes or no question. It was a how did they escape? Jimmy, I cannot hear her if you're talking. Yes, but something helped them. They didn't just sneak out on their own. They were too scared. Has Samuel? Who helped them? Who helped them escape? So Haiti. No, she didn't help them escape. She was in her house trying to stay away from the eagle when they escaped. Who helped them? Troy, those are not toys. You may throw that all away if you're just going to play with it. All right, Miranda.
The lizard.
The lizard, remember, and the type of lizard, the Agama man, right? Miranda, kiss your brain, pat yourself in the back. Thank you. Oh, second graders, you guys are getting schooled, man. The little first graders over here. All right, so that is our story.